All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. My name is Brad. I work for Shipping Easy. I've been with the company for over 5 years now, this month actually. So I've worked in sales, I've worked in support, I've onboarded customers. Right now, I work with some of our largest customers and keeping their process streamlined. We've entered my favorite time of the week, which is where we do these webinars. And today's webinar is about some just general usage of the application. We're not going to go too deep as far as shipping theory and processes go. We're going to keep it pretty surface level, but that's okay. I mean, if you have questions that are pretty deep, that's why I really like these webinars, is because you guys always have really interesting questions and scenarios. Feel free to post them. I will answer every single question at the end of this webinar. It could be about anything we've talked about today, anything around your own personal process that you'd like to see. There's no such thing as a silly question because everybody benefits from the scenarios. And sometimes I don't know the answer, and that's hilarious to see me try and juggle that on a live webinar. But I just really like these webinars, and so feel free to ask the questions. I'll come back and answer them at the end. So what are we going to cover today? We're going to talk about the orders page, as I mentioned, how to ship a package from there very simply. We're going to talk about creating a shipping preset, which will help us ship a little quicker off of the orders page. We'll talk about some e-commerce industry tips. This is really just some generalizations. If you're new to Shipping Easy, a large customer demographic of these sessions are newer e-commerce sellers who maybe don't have as much experience with shipping. There's a lot to shipping, but I'm just going to kind of touch on some basics and some good rules of thumb if you're evaluating what shipping options to offer your customers and how to engage the various carriers. So let's go ahead and get started. And at the end, I'll answer questions. So we'll start on just some general rules of thumb, and this will flow into the actual application really well. So just as a general rule of thumb, if you're shipping lighter weight packages, anything from 2 ounces all the way up to like 8 pounds or so, the post office is going to be a really good carrier to support you with their shipping rates. The post office owns the market on anything less than a pound with their first class service. So you can ship 0 to 15.99 ounces first class, and it's super affordable, and it's the most competitive rate for an under a pound package you can have. UPS and FedEx are really tough to get close to being competitive in that playground area. When it comes to the heavier packages, so the post office is great all the way up to about 8 pounds or so. Anything above 8 pounds, definitely take a look at UPS and FedEx. Those are the heavier packages, the bigger packages. That's kind of their specialty, UPS and FedEx's. So definitely evaluate all the various aspects of your shipping. If you have a mixture of heavier and lighter products, well, maybe set it up so that your lighter products go with the post office and your heavier products go with UPS, FedEx. Again, it's going to boil down to your subjective kind of setup, but those are just some good general rules of thumb when you're trying to consider, well, who should I ship this package with? Lighter weight is going to be the post office. Heavier is going to be UPS and FedEx. Consider multi-channel selling. So as I mentioned, a lot of customers that are attending these webinars are newer businesses. So I would encourage you, if you're still in the early stages of your e-commerce experience, to evaluate multiple channels for your products. What I mean by that is you have basically 2 separate avenues to list and sell your products online. You have a website, which is proprietary to your business, and you have a marketplace, which is proprietary to the marketplace. Example being, you can start up a Shopify web store where you sell your headphones, and you list them, you sell them, you market to your customers saying, hey, I got these headphones in, they're great, and all that jazz. Now, that's really cool because you control the entire dialogue and the entire message of your brand. But maybe if you're just starting out, you don't have that large of a customer base. So trying to attract customers to your store, or trying to really cultivate a relationship with your customers isn't quite as simple as just setting that store up. I recommend checking out Amazon, Walmart, eBay. These are marketplaces where you might not necessarily have control of the brand. It's the actual marketplace's brand, but you will have the ability to reach a larger audience of customers than you otherwise might have been. And the nice thing about Shipping Easy is that we integrate with just about every single selling platform. So whether you start your own website or you start selling on a marketplace, all of your orders are going to be aggregated into one place. So you won't have to worry about, oh shoot, where did that order come from? Let me log into Shopify. No, wait, it was an Amazon order. Let me log in there. Shipping Easy will assimilate all of that into one place for you. And in that same kind of idea, as far as assimilation with multiple marketplaces and stores, I definitely recommend taking a look at software such as Shipping Easy. And I would hope that you would evaluate Shipping Easy for this since you are here. But trying to get all of your shipping inventory and marketing in one place early on is really helpful. And what I mean by that is I've worked with enterprise customers that are shipping thousands of packages per day, and they're using Shipping Easy for their shipping. But when it comes to trying to track their inventory, they either haven't set it up or they're using an external system that is just, it's just external. The reason that it's important to try and condense as many processes, and this goes beyond just shipping, inventory, and customer marketing. This could be anything on like your front end point of sale, or whatever setup you have. Get as many things under one roof as possible, because it makes scaling that much easier. When you, as your business starts to grow and the different programs that you have in place right now start getting stretched, basically, well, it's a lot easier to keep everything kind of condensed, so you make one phone call versus like the 5 as your business is growing. If you've got something for shipping, something for inventory, something for marketing, that's 3 separate phone calls you'll have to make if something goes wrong. The cool thing about Shipping Easy is that it's just a single phone call, because we have it all. So little humble plug there for our own software, and being more than shipping software, but it definitely was created for a reason. When I started back 5 years ago, Shipping Easy was just a shipping software. And probably the number one feature request I heard on the phones when I was calling e-commerce merchants was inventory. So we went with that. So it's definitely a really valuable feature, and I encourage you to take a look. So we're going to start with what a shipping preset is. Before we get to the actual orders page, this is going to make shipping from the orders page a lot easier. I love this picture. A shipping preset, what is it? It's a carrier, service, and package combination. So an example could be United States Postal Service, first class mail, and a 4x4 package. That is a combination of a carrier, a service, and a package. And you can use those combinations to ship out really quickly. So I know that this keyboard, for example, is going to go in said package, or whatever package I need. So when I see an order on my orders page, I can just very quickly toggle to this preset and ship it out. I'll explain what that and demonstrate what that is specifically, but I just wanted you guys to be familiar with the terminology I'm going to be using. A preset is just a carrier, service, and package combination. So we'll look at the presets page as well. This is how you set up a physical preset within Shipping Easy. You click on the settings button in the upper right-hand corner, and then you'll see this page right here. And this is from my test account. And this is a list of all of my presets that I have set up. As you can see, you've got your carrier column, the service column, and then the packaging column. Now, the reason I have a picture of the Sneetches from Dr. Seuss is because I want you to witness the stars upon thars. Stars are important on the preset page because they identify what presets you can use on the orders page. Anything with a star next to it, a yellow star, means that I can use this preset on the orders page. If it's one of these grayed out stars, I cannot use it on the orders page, but I could use it in like a shipping rule or some other configuration that makes sense. But I just like to point that out so you know that if it has a star on it, it's good to go. It's on the orders page. If it doesn't have a star, it'll just be used elsewhere. The first thing you do, and I'll actually jump back real quick. The first thing you do to create a new preset, you click the new preset button. We'll select the carrier first, right? Because the first thing about a preset is that, or the first attribute is that you need a carrier. So let's select United States Postal Service. Then we'll have all of the services of mail that are supported within Shipping Easy, which it's all of them. And then I'll select whichever one I'm trying to create right now. And then lastly, I'll select the packaging. Now, I could either have a package already in use, or I can create a brand new package. It doesn't matter. If there's a package that I want to use specifically, it's on this list. If there's a brand new one, if this is a brand new preset for those headphones that I have, I can go ahead and create the packaging there and save it. There we go. Create preset. I could change the name if I wanted. I could call it the wacky preset number 45, whatever. And that would be fine. It would display as wacky preset number 45, whatever, on the orders page. The customer wouldn't see it by any means. They wouldn't have any idea as far as what you've called it. So by all means, be gratuitous with it if you feel like it. But at the end of the day, it's just for your organization and for your purposes. You create the preset and you will see it back on this page. Again, stars mean that it appears on the orders page, and no stars mean that it doesn't. So I'm going to jump off of the PowerPoint now, and I'm going to actually dive into the application. So this is the setup, right? Set up your presets first, and now we can actually utilize them on our orders page. This is the Shipping Easy orders page. So this is where my Shopify store and my Amazon store and BigCommerce, all the stores I have plugged into Shipping Easy, they're going to deposit all of their orders on this page. And I'll explain how you can sort and filter to those specific orders now. So right now, there's a lot of information going on this page, and maybe not all of it's relevant to how you have your setup. Well, we've got these various columns. That's where I'm going to start first. These just display attributes to your orders. So like the recipient's name, the item name, the SKU, the warehouse bin, how much the order weighs. Again, all this information may not be pertinent to how you are shipping today, and that's okay. You can actually arrange your columns to include all the information available on that order. So on the left-hand side, this is all of my available columns. And on the right-hand side, these are all of the columns that I have in use. Perhaps item SKU doesn't matter because I don't have item SKUs for my products. Now I bring this up because I'm very passionate about you guys having SKUs. Have SKUs for your products. Even if you have just a couple of products, have a SKU for your product, because it makes not only using Shipping Easy like a lot easier, not easier, but just more fluid. It makes your overall business process just more trackable. A SKU, if you're not sure, is an identifier for a product. So if I have a SKU for this keyboard, yeah, this is called a keyboard. It's called an Apple, Mac keyboard, whatever you want to call it, but its SKU is 1, 2, 3. And that's the primary identifier for this keyboard. And it's very important because with that primary identifier, SKU 1, 2, 3, I can list things about this keyboard. I can say it's white. I can say it weighs 4 ounces. I can say it's part of a larger group of SKUs that I offer. There's a lot of things you can do with SKUs. Just take the time. You can call the SKUs whatever you want. You could call it the exact same thing that you call your product. We could call this SKU white keyboard number 1, and that would be fine. But I encourage you, if you haven't taken the time to set up SKUs for your products, definitely set them up, because using them in Shipping Easy, it opens up a lot more possibilities for getting into some of the more advanced settings, or just being able to categorize and filter things, as well as, like I said, the greater overall processes of your business. It will help you track things better. Going back to the arranged columns, could you tell how passionate I was about that? Going back to the arranged columns, I've taken SKUs off because I don't have them. Well, if I save this, the SKU column will no longer be displayed. I'm very passionate about SKUs, as you guys are all too well aware now. So I'm going to leave it in there, but I can also sort with these columns. So right now I am sorted by age. I've got my newest orders at the top and my oldest orders at the bottom. So we have 145 orders total. And if I were to sort descendingly, I would put my oldest order at the top now, and my newest order would be at the bottom. Completely subjective on how you use this sort method. It's really up to you, but just by clicking these columns is going to arrange your orders in whatever method is necessary for you to fulfill. There's a big difference between sorting these orders versus on the columns of the orders page, and filtering to them on the left-hand side. Now, a filter actually cuts down the results that are returned. They will actually filter the orders for you. So I want to make that a key distinction there. This sorts every order. This, on the left-hand side, the filters, filter orders. So there is a difference between filtering and sorting. Filtering actually returns fewer results. For example, I have 145 orders right now on the orders page because I have no filters engaged. If I click on store and I go to, we'll say, my Shopify store, you can see it goes from 145 all the way down to 4 orders. That's a very small percentage of my orders because it's very specific. I am specifically looking for orders from my Shopify store. Now I can go through and look at a bunch of other stores as well if necessary, but the filters are cool because it really boils down to, again, your personal process, but perhaps every day you come in, you know that everything under a pound needs to go first class. Well, you can filter to that. We can click on the weight, go less than a pound, and we go from 145 orders all the way down to 60 orders. Now, if I wanted to, and these guys are less than a pound and they're all domestic, which we can do that as well. We can combine these and say address type, residential, commercial, that just means domestic. As you can see, there's an international filter as well, but we've cut it down. Now we know that these 35 orders are all under a pound and shipping within the United States. So with that, I could group them all as a batch and print off all of those labels at once. Maybe that's not your process. If it is, great. If it's not, you have the option to really get in there and combine these different filters. Now, if this is something, if you're using filters specifically, you can save them too, which is really great. We have this thing called the saved view, and a view is just a combination of filters. So as you can see, this is a view. Under a pound, residential, commercial. We could, if we're using that every day, rather than opening up both these filters and clicking on them and trying to combine my filters, I can just save it and then just toggle to my various views. As you can see, I've got some test views here from webinars of Christmas past. We can just go ahead and click through and say quantity 1, under a pound. Okay, that's 48. That's a very specific demographic of my orders that I'm processing on a regular basis. So rather than clicking weight, selecting under a pound, clicking quantity, selecting 1 every single day, all I have to do is drop this down and select the views that I want to work through. So that's the orders page. As far as the layout, I always like to go through the organization as well, because there is a lot of information here. It's all relatively relevant. I mean, it's order information. So it's just a matter of you taking the time to set up what's the most relevant information that's displayed to you. Now, that being said, let's look at how to ship from here. So let's suppose I want to ship this order to the Hollywood Fat Cat out in California. It's 6 ounces. We're probably going to use the post office. If I click on this order, we'll get this order tray to slide out. And now on this tray, it's really great because you're able to see all of the details pertaining to this order. We can see what the item was that they ordered, if there's any issues with their address that we need to correct, any sort of shipping rules that may have applied to this. As we can see, a shipping rule did apply, and a shipping rule, just as kind of a tease, is an if-then statement. It's an automation that our software can apply to an order and say, okay, this is less than a pound, make it first class. Our software can do that automatically, and it worked in this instance. You can also see any notes too associated with the order. Now let's suppose that maybe there's some adjustment that I need to actually make on this order. Maybe I know that this item is actually 2 pounds and not 6 ounces. So right now I have my preset set to just first class package, so it's just going to go under a pound, but we know that because it's over 1 pound that it has to go in a different method, like UPS ground or FedEx home delivery or USPS priority mail. So I will update the actual order weight to 2 pounds total. We'll click update rate. And the software will actually throw up an error saying, hey, we cannot apply the preset of first class because this is over a pound. If you'll recall, anything under a pound can ship first class, but because this is 2 pounds, we have to select another service. No problem. We've already taken the time to set up our presets. I've got them right here. And here's where you can actually toggle to a brand new preset that will apply to this order. I could say, let's use the 7x7x7 priority mail package. There we go. We'll click update rate. $9. Okay, we're ready to go on this label. I'll go ahead and click buy. And the label and the slide out both disappear. Now, this is the orders page. This is where all of your orders that have not been shipped land. Now that we have shipped that order, it's in your shipment history page. To find that, we'll hover over shipments right here. Then we're going to click on shipment history. So this is literally a written history of all of your past shipments. Now, this page is broken up in somewhat of a similar way to the orders page. One thing to keep in mind with the shipment history page is that this goes back all the way up to 90 days. So if you're looking for a shipment that shipped at 91 days, or is 91 days old, you will not find it on this page, and that's okay. We still contain that information. You'll either find it in a report that you run, or you can search for it in the global search bar in the upper right-hand corner. But this page only displays the past 90 days worth of shipments, and that has to do with just caching and all that good stuff as far as managing the data on one page, such as the shipment history page. But this page, as I mentioned, is broken up very similarly to the orders page. It's displaying things about the shipment. Here's the tracking number. So if you click on it, we can see, okay, here's my package. It has been picked up and all that good stuff. So it's going to tell you the shipment progress by clicking on that tracking number. I have branded tracking set up on my account. So it's my brand, this Linden Road Apparel. It's my personal store. But if you don't have branded tracking set up, it's all right. It will go to the post office website or UPS or FedEx, depending on the carrier. But I can come back here and I can reprint a label if I need to. So, oh my gosh, I spilled coffee on fender bender's label. The post office isn't going to take this. We need to reprint it. We can click reprint. Pops up right here. Here's my packing slip. It's ready to go and ready to be printed. On the left-hand side, much like we had the filters on the orders page, we've got filters here. So I've got in the last 7 days. So these are orders that shipped out in the previous week. I can go back to the previous month, 2 months, and again, 3 months. So back all the way back to 90 days. I can specifically filter by the carrier as well. So we could just say everything with UPS. Okay, there's that label. Let's reprint it. And again, just like on the orders page, you can also save this view. So we could say, this is my past 90 days UPS. I need to come in here and check this because of whatever reason it makes sense to check it. I'll go ahead and reset the views. The last thing I'm going to show you on this page is really just specific for the post office. The post office likes to use what's called a scan form. If you don't have familiarity with them, it's okay. A scan form basically takes this barcode that is on the shipping label. If you have multiple shipping labels, and it condenses it into a single barcode. So if you have like, typically I recommend like 5 or more packages to print one of these out. It takes all of the barcodes for the packages you're sending out and makes them into one. So that way the post office doesn't have to go through and scan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and just go through. It saves them a ton of time, and all of the packages get entered into the mail stream in the same way anyways. So to print a scan form within Shipping Easy, we're going to click on this USPS scan form beneath label actions. And it's going to display all of the scan form eligible shipments here. I like what I see. Okay, we just got a single one. We can go ahead and create the scan form, and it's going to print out just a standard 8.5 by 11 piece of paper with a barcode on it and some other information indicating that it's yours. But most importantly, it's going to have that barcode that the post office can then scan and be able to collect your packages. So that is it. That's all I really wanted to dig into and be specific with to lead with. I'm going to open it up for questions here now. Just to kind of reiterate, we talked about shipping presets, which can be found on the settings page. Shipping presets. Here we go. How to create those. They're just a carrier, a service, and a package. After you have a star on that preset, you can use it on the orders page. You can very easily toggle to it right here. You can click on the order itself and toggle to it as well. And you can use it in shipping rules. And then we also talked about sorting the columns versus filtering the orders. And then of course the shipment history page, which pulls up your previous shipments. So I'm gonna go ahead, like I said, open up for questions. Ask me anything. I will be completely honest and I guess candid. Let's see. How do we set a preference to automatically split the order and print 2 labels for the order? That's a great question. So we're going to create a shipping rule. Now, I'm not going to get too in depth into what shipping rules are. I have another webinar on Thursdays that deals specifically with shipping rules. So if you feel comfortable with the software and you're ready, things are starting to feel, well, I always know that this should be shipping this way. A shipping rule is a good candidate. Attend the webinar on Thursday, but we can definitely touch on it here. So the question is, how does Shipping Easy see this order of, what's a good one here? This one. So we've got a quantity 2 order right here going to our New York Tough Guy. So this person's asking, how do we identify this order and take that quantity 2 and bifurcate it? And so that way we're going to ship the New York Tough Guy 2 separate shipments. And that can be done through a shipping rule. So we're going to click on the settings page, and then we're going to click on a shipping rule, and then we'll go add new. So to reiterate what a shipping rule is, it's an if then statement. So if identifies the conditions we're looking for, then applies an action. So if the order has more than 1 item, then split it so I can ship it separately. So we want to identify a quantity 2 or greater item, or I'm sorry, order, and then split it so I can ship it. So we can call this the split rule. So the if statement right here will identify it. And again, it's different for everything. So I don't know specifically what this person's criteria is to identify these shipments. I'm just going off something simple. So we can say if the total quantity is greater than or equal to 2, So this order has to have a total quantity of items, whether it's two of the same items or one and one of different items or greater. That's what is going to identify it. Then we can break out and split by SKU. Now, you probably want to identify the SKUs in this. So it's really going to work if you have multiple line items. So as you can see, we can't split by quantity through through like a shipping rule, but we could if you have different line items. So that would be another idea. And a line item, if you're unsure, is just a product. So if I have two of these headphones, it's still just a single line item because they're the same product. But if I have one headphone and one keyboard, they are two line items because they are two products. So a line item is just a product. That's what we can automate the split by. If you're looking to split it by quantity to say like, I need to break out these two pairs of headphones to ship them independent, that will be a manual process. And you can just say, check on the orders page, split order items. And here's where you can actually split that according to the quantity. So it depends really on the situation. Automatically, we can split line items. Manually, we will split the quantity. I hope that answers the question. If not, feel free to ping me. I will see it. Can you explain a little more about the scan form? If shipping 50 packages out to different customers, can we create a single page for the post office to scan? Yes, I will go into a little more detail on the scan form. So let's see here. We'll go to shipment history. So the scan form, if you have 50 packages, this person's asking like if it's just a single page for 50 different shipments. That, yes, it is. If you create a scan form, it is literally just a single piece of paper that has a barcode on it. You're not going to get like 50 individual pieces of paper because again, it's taking the barcode on this label, but on the other 49 labels too, and condensing them into a single barcode. So that's the only one the post office is going to scan. If you give the post office 50 packages, they'll probably freak out and they'll have to scan each of those 50 packages. But if you have a scan form, it takes all of the information on this label and adds it into like a conglomerate barcode. So that's kind of how scan forms work. I hope that answers your question. But yeah, it's essentially taking no matter the amount of packages that are eligible for it, it's going to take them and condense them into a single sheet for the post office. There used to be an update weight option when we would go to ship an item. It would allow us to apply weight to an inventory item. That button seems to be gone now. Yeah, so updating the weight option on the orders page was disabled. Oh, that was probably like 2 months ago or so. The customer's asking about, okay, so if I click on this order and we say, oh, it's not actually 3 pounds, this is actually, well, I'm sorry, we click on the actual item and we update it. We say it's not 3 pounds, it's actually 12 ounces. Well, it updates the order weight for this particular order, but it doesn't go back and update the item in our product catalog. It hasn't been moved. It was just removed for whatever reason. I'm not actually sure why that was removed. I know that they're working on enhancements for the orders page. I heard that from other customers too. So keep your eyes peeled. That may be added back on the edit order slide out. Let's see. How do you ask USPS to pick up your package? Great question. So we'll go ahead and pull this up here. Someone is asking about requesting a USPS pickup. So all we have to do is we will click on the order that we want to have picked up. Now we're going to leave the orders page. We're going to go to what's called the ready to ship page. The difference between the ready to ship page and this order slide out is there are more carrier and service options available on the ready to ship page. So in an advanced option like scheduling a pickup with the post office, you will want to print your orders through the ready to ship page right here. To get my order up there, I'll select the order in question. We'll click create shipment. There's that number 1, meaning that there is a shipment up there ready for shipping. Imagine that. And I've got everything filled out here. As you can see, my preset is still in place. So we've got priority mail through the post office going in a flat rate padded envelope. I need the post office to come pick this up for me. Now, one thing that you'll want to do is advance your ship date. Now you can't request a same day pickup within the application. So we'll advance that ship date up one. So I'm saying tomorrow, I need the post office to come pick it up, request a pickup, and we'll go ahead and print it. Now I'm clicking print later because I don't have direct printing on mine, on my computer, because that would be a waste of paper for a webinar. But that's all you need to do. Put the order up in the ready to ship page by selecting the order, clicking create shipment, advance the ship date by however many days you'd like. It goes up to 7. And then make sure that you check the box, request a pickup. Now you can see actually in your shipment history, there is a column for seeing if the pickup has been enabled. Where is that? Tracking, insurance. It shows up actually next to the tracking number. I don't have it on mine because, again, I'm not going to pester the US Post Office to stop by my apartment and pick up a non-existent package. But you are able to see what packages were requested for a pickup from the post office. Great question. I've never been asked that question on a webinar. Is there a way to update the ship date in bulk? I hate changing each one manually when I need to set the date for the following day. Great question. So we're working on a feature right now to be able to bulk update ship from on the orders page. Outside of that, I would recommend doing like a batch shipment. So what you can do is you can do 1, 2, 3. And so what a batch shipment is it's taking multiple orders that are shipping the same way and grouping them up together. So all of these orders, let's pretend they're all going to ship in that flat rate envelope. Maybe I don't have that selection already checked, or maybe I want to edit that and ship them a different way. Well, if I select all 3 of these guys, group as batch, they're going to go back to that ready to ship page that we were just on. And here's my domestic batch. It's going to list out all 3 orders here once it's done validating. And here's where I can bulk update. And I'm going to actually ship these out on the 11th. So I will update that way. And we can go ahead and print. That would be my recommendation for the time being as far as how to advance your ship date on your packages in bulk, would be to put them in the ready to ship page, group them as a batch for the ones that are shipping together. If not, it will be on a per shipment basis if you're doing things one at a time. Let's see, how do you filter by carrier? Great question. So this one's interesting. Someone's asking how to filter by carrier on the orders page. So the interesting thing is, you'll notice there is no carrier filter. The idea behind that is just that we're not, it's not really, to filter by carrier is tough because shipping is super subjective as far as what people's preferences are. My recommendation for the carrier, because these carriers like UPS, the post office, if there's FedEx in there, that's being applied based on a decision that I made. I personally, me, Brad Pendleton, I had to make a decision to have these carriers apply to these packages under scenarios. So the software doesn't automatically just say UPS or the post office or something like that. It does not do that. It makes the decision based on something that the merchant has set up on its behalf. So that's why there's no carrier filter here, because it really wouldn't apply to anything at the moment, like right off the bat. We would have to go through and set up shipping rules or just kind of ask for the recommendation here. Now, that being said, my recommendation, as I mentioned, I set up these carriers. I set up the criteria to apply these carriers to these orders. So in doing so, we could create like a category and call it, which I have right here, first class domestic. So in my shipping rule that says anything under £1 that's going within the United States, apply USPS first class. Well, this is essentially serving that carrier filter function, because it's able to see, oh, okay, well, this is everything that meets the criteria that the merchant has set up, the merchant being myself. So that's a great question. It's getting into more of just like the personalized setup of Shipping Easy. That's why there's no carrier filter, but this is my recommendation as far as if you want to filter by carrier, you can definitely set up a category to do so. Great question. Let's see. Do you support packing slips? Someone's asking if we support what's called a packing slip. That's a great question. Packing slips are additional pieces of paper that can accompany shipping labels. This is a packing slip that's on attached to my current setup. The packing slip contains information about the order. So as you can see, it's got this order has a new product and it's got the alligator clutch and it's got its totals associated with it and other information that may or may not be relevant to the customer. The cool thing about packing slips is they're completely customizable. So maybe we don't need all of this information on here. Maybe we want to keep it very simple. And this is a good kind of segue into tomorrow's webinar, which is about picking and packing. And we will touch on packing slips and setting those up. But yeah, essentially we're able to print those off with the labels. You can print them by themselves. Any adjustments you want to make to a packing slip, click on settings in the upper right-hand corner. On the right-hand side, you can see we have the packing slip option beneath label sizes and printing options. And I've got a bunch right here. Now, anything with an American flag or a globe next to it indicates that it's the default for either domestic or international. But you can set up packing slips for various occasions. You could say anything that is a gift needs to have the gift packing slip. Anything coming from my Shopify store needs to have this specific branding packing slip associated with it. But yeah, you can get really creative and customizable with your packing slip templates. And like I said, we'll cover that tomorrow in the webinar in a little bit more depth and some of the other uses of packing slips. Great question. I think that's it. I think that's all of the questions. Thank you for joining me today. The last thing I want to point out, I am putting these webinars up on our Shipping Easy YouTube page. So if you missed it, if you have other people that you think might benefit from this webinar or previous webinars or future webinars, you can always come here and I'll put the most recent one up and you can watch all of the shipping rule and automation ones if you want, if there's ever extra questions or something like that. So this is all available here on Shipping Easy's YouTube page. And then you can also sign up, of course, for additional webinars at the links for the one that you signed up for this one with. And again, tomorrow is picking, packing, and shipping. And then Thursday, we'll talk about shipping rules and automation. But thank you very much for joining me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your, man, it's Tuesday. Why did I say Saturday? I don't work on Saturdays. I work Monday through Friday. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday. Eat plenty of ice cream and eat some ribs too. And it's just silent now. I didn't even fade it out. Everybody, have a good rest of your day.